Hello, symbol lovers, and welcome to another edition of Understanding the Symbols of Hieronymus Bosch. And we're going to take our second look at St. Christopher here, and especially at the hermit there by the riverside, by the waterside. And notice that Christopher is paired with this hermit, but the hermit is surrounded by other symbols that relate to the hermit as much as they relate to St. Christopher. We're meant to compare them all one with another. It all has a dialogue. And so we'll begin with our hermit. I believe that's a dead fox that's hanging from that tree. And next to the fox are birds. And if we put a fox and birds together, we get a scripture. And that scripture is, foxes have dens, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. And so we have that symbol over the head of the hermit, and it's more or less telling us that both of them, Christopher and the hermit, but especially the hermit, have lived this life of selfless poverty, trying to imitate Jesus. So not only did he follow the straight and narrow path, but also notice there's a ladder over there. And what is a ladder? Well, a ladder is a straight and narrow path, if you think about it. And if you're putting it up so someone can escape a fire, it's a means of salvation. So that is another positive symbol that's really applied to the hermit, indicating that he's basically a good guy. And also he's wearing an apron, so he's not a lazy monk. He works. And there you see that kind of sad, broken down wooden cross there. I'm sure it's like a boat dock. But it's definitely a cross, and it definitely represents Christianity. So it's saying that that monk, he's also kind of a dog because of his interpretation of the Gospels. And he's also close to being a Christian. And of course, Christians in the time of Hieronymus Bosch burned at the stake witches, homosexuals, and heretics, of which he would have been deemed a heretic. So the monk has got some good points and some bad points surrounding him. So St. Christopher is paired with that fish, which is a symbol for Jesus. And the hermit is compared to that fish. They're both measured by their lifestyles against the lifestyle of Jesus. In this way, we can say the symbols talk to each other. They comment on one another. And now I want to draw your attention to that jug that the hermit is holding, because jugs are a very important symbol in the art of Hieronymus Bosch. And here we have, up in the tree, another jug, and someone is using it as a shelter. There's a little tiny man living in that jug, and the little tiny man gets to look out and see the face of Jesus. And also you see that little lantern hanging up. That's another symbol for Jesus. He is the light of the world. And so the lantern belongs to the little man in the jug. So again, those are good indications for the people who live in the jug. They're good people. The jug represents spiritual thirst, as in, blessed are they who are hungering and thirsting for justice' sake. It's the need in humans for justice and peace. So how do you satisfy a spiritual thirst? With the living waters of Jesus, of course. And so that's what's supposed to go in the jug. And that's what good people carry in the jug, is living water. But as you see here, there's a hole in the bottom of their jug. So it really doesn't hold anything, but it still can serve as a shelter, symbolically. Notice that that ladder is laying on the ground. If you want to somewhat satisfy your spiritual thirst, you have to put forth the effort to put that ladder up that tree so that you can get up there and at least glimpse the face of Jesus. And you'll have the rewards of the dove eggs, all the dove eggs you can eat. And if you're willing to go out on a limb, there's even honey in the beehive. And so all these rewards can be yours if you're willing to put forth the effort and climb the straight and narrow path. I believe this jug stuck in this tree is what Bosch thinks of monasteries. That is, if you live the life of a monk, you will at least be able to glimpse Jesus. You'll understand him, but you'll never be like St. Christopher and actually be involved with him, and certainly not be blessed directly by him. You just get to admire Jesus from afar, and you're a little person. You're tiny in comparison to a true follower of Jesus like St. Christopher. So now this jug has been paired with, to be compared with, St. Christopher. They live in a house that cannot hold water, much less living water, whereas good old St. Christopher is up to his ankles in the stuff. So he doesn't even need a jug. He's definitely got all the living water he can handle. And so that's one reason why they are paired, is to compare the two. And the comparison isn't always favorable. Sometimes it's a contrast like this. Keep in mind that monks and nuns were like a huge part of the culture in Bosch's time. There is a whole range of monks and nuns in the paintings of Hieronymus Bosch, like here with Saint Anthony and the sad begging nun with her hand out. Another passive Saint Anthony, but he's filling up his spiritual jug. They can be fun-loving, like this pair in The Ship of Fools. They can be religious nags, but they can also be a lot worse. We're going to be looking at the monks on the hay wain, and the hay wain is exactly what it looks like. There are a few privileged people sitting on the top and controlling all that hay, while everyone else has to fight for a few precious scraps. So hay is lifetime power. It's a political picture, but we want to focus on two monks in the picture. One is almost dead center of this picture, and that's the monk that's holding back a man who's beating another man. So that's a peacemaker, and he's very active. So that's a good monk. But the other monk is the lazy, bad monk. And so we can read the symbol as follows. First, we'll look at the rules and the exception. To begin with, we have 5 people in drab clothing and 1 in bright clothing, the piper. And we have, so he's separate from this world. That leaves us the 4 women. So we have 3 women working in straw, and 1 woman even using her straw to pay the piper. We have 3 women who work in straw, and that 4th woman, the nun, who merely prays. She does nothing practical. The others do the actual work. And remember, Ebionites would emphasize works, works, works. It's not how much you pray, it's how much you do. And so the rule is people in general work for a living. They gather the straw, they do the hard work. And we have now that monk If the nun did little, the monk is sitting comfortably and he has his cup out. He is waiting to be served. And so he is one step below a nun, dare I say. And, uh, if this was the worst thing Bosch had to say about monks, this wouldn't be so bad. But it gets much, much worse. So now we'll look at Christ Carries the Cross by the workshop of Hieronymus Bosch anyway. And who do we see down below in the contemporary scene? That's the symbolic scene above, and the contemporary scene below, we have a monk. And he's giving the man one last chance to recant. And in Bosch's day, if this were a heretic, he would be granted the grace to be strangled before he was burnt at the stake. They'd still burn him at the stake, but he wouldn't have to face the actual flames. And that's one of the things that the monks were up to, not to mention their tribunals and sentencing people to the flames. They knew exactly what would happen to them if they were found guilty at their tribunals. It's simply that the state did the actual dirty work. But the demonic clergy, and this was left to the monks to do, they're the ones that had the tribunals. They're the ones that ran the Spanish Inquisition and all the other Inquisitions. It was done with the help of these demonic monks. We've been looking at scenes from the triptych known as the Judgment Day by Hieronymus Bosch. But it's not exactly Judgment Day, but we need to look at the Bible to understand what it is we're looking at. And so we'll see the Son of Man coming on the clouds in his glory, and his angels with trumpets, and he's coming at an hour that we do not expect. And he's confronting his household servants that he left in charge. And the question raised in chapter 24 of Matthew is, are they good servants or are they wicked servants? And there's every possibility they could be wicked servants when Jesus returns. And that's what he's coming home to here in the so-called Judgment Day. It's really, this should be the second coming. Jesus has just appeared. This is just the beginning. And what does he find below on earth but these demons torturing innocent people? So how do we identify the monsters? Well, Bosch gives us a clue. There in the left-hand panel, we see God in his heaven, and below him, the good angels are driving out the bad angels. And notice what happens to the once good angels as they fall to earth. They begin changing into lizards, crawly things, frogs, and insects. As they get farther away from God, they become monsters. They were once beautiful angels, now they're monsters. And that gives us our clue to who these monsters on earth are. They were once beautiful people, but now, because they are far from God, they have become monsters. And so these are the people that Jesus left in charge to bring his magic message to the world, and they have become wicked servants. They have become monsters. So, surprise, surprise, the monsters in Bosch paintings are Christian clergy. That's all the time we have fun for. But thanks for watching Understanding the Symbols of Hieronymus Bosch. Special thanks to my new subscribers, and thank you all for watching.